So there are a lot of videos out there about how to change out CV axles, front wheel drive cars. So that's not what this video is about. You guys can Google that all day long, or YouTube it all day long. Search on YouTube for it all day long. But I want to show you some key pointers to look out for when you're actually doing a CV axle. So here's a brand new one. Here's a used one, 280,000 miles on this. Pretty sure it's original. But one thing you want to make sure that when you pull out the old one, make sure that the C-clip is right here. Make sure that it comes out with the axle. Also check the new one. Make sure the new one has it on there. Another thing you want to check is overall length. Make sure that the axles are the same length. This old one right here has been hyperextended. What that means is inside here, right inside here on this one, on the old one, when I was pulling it out, it actually pulled all the guts on the inside out. It happened on the new one to me as well, and I actually had to cut out the band off to get on the inside and reset all the, it's like, it looks like 3 little wheels inside there, and those wheels have gotten jammed up because I made the mistake of installing this new one, and on the end they're putting the nut on the end into the axle, and I moved the axle to get the lower ball joint back in place, and it hyperextended it and locked this in place. So I actually had to cut the new band off. I found bands to replace this one, but they've been all too small. If it's on the transmission side, you can actually use zip ties. I know I'm going to get some hate for this in the comments below, but you can actually use zip ties to hold the rubber boot back on. Just make sure it's tight. So when you're actually doing the work on the axle, make sure that both sides are up in the air, even if you're doing one, because it puts a lot of strain puts a lot of undue strain on the suspension on the side that you're working on when you just have one side up in the air. So if you can, get both sides up in the air. Always use a floor jack. I have one on the other side as well. And then I had to get, it started leaking in there on the transmission when I pulled it out. And so I had to get, for those of you who live in Southern California, I apologize, in and out. But I got an in and out tray that I'm using to catch the oil, the automatic transmission fluid, I should say. So both sides are jacked up. Another point to remember is always check that inner seal, the transmission seal. Make sure that's not ripped or cracked or torn, because if it is, you have to replace it now or you'll get automatic transmission fluid leak. So when you guys install these, make sure you put a little bit of grease onto the C-clamp so it stays in place when you're putting it into the transmission. I will put the zip tie here to hold the boot on. If it was on the outside, so this is the outside towards the tire, this is towards the transmission. If it was on the outside one, I would have to replace it with a band, just because of all the movement and all the articulation it does. You can't put a zip tie on there. But since it's on the inside, sitting towards the transmission, no problem using the zip tie. Like I said, I know I'll get some haters on that, but it'll be all right.